possibly 3-time near-death experience survivor. She's a sensitive intuitive. I refer to her as my human dowsing rods. I really love to have her with me on cases. So she's got many, many more years experience than just that 15 years because of her gift and her talents, and she's got a real passion for it too. As I do, long before getting together with her, many, many years of just being a Ghostbuster, and not knowing it. You hear the term, you were a poet and didn't know it. I was a Ghostbuster and didn't really even know I was a Ghostbuster.
Oh, we got to go for break. Hey, now I'm going to put you on hold there, Shawn. Hey, James, you know how to mute your Skype, don't you?
I do, but I got to tell you, I think I'm going to lay down, Gary. My head is killing me,
okay.
buddy.
You better get back. You better get back to bed.
Yeah, I think I will. I tell you, this flu's really kicking my butt.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Don't forget to take some medicine before you go to bed, James.
Yeah, I'm going to right now. I'll tell you, my head is banging. Sorry, guys. I just don't know what to do.
Okay, well, you go take care of yourself, James. And we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
So anyway, I'm going to put you on, Shawn, hold. We'll be back in about 2.5 minutes.
You got it.
Okay, sir.
Vete, vamos a hacer un contrato donde solo figure buen trato. Es puro sentimiento, con todo lo que digo no miento. Te quiero dejar en lo más alto.
You are listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio Network, from our compound to you worldwide, with your host, Gary Anderson. You can advertise your business on Night Dreams Talk Radio, and you will be heard worldwide. Why not contact us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com.
You're listening to my friend Gary Anderson on Night Dreams Talk Radio, the best in paranormal radio.
Well, Shawn, are you still there?
I am here, brother.
Yeah, so you got a show on in Vegas. What station is that on, for we can kind of let the people know who listen in your state, Nevada, where they can find it?
It is a live online show, and it airs live every Monday night from 5 p.m. Pacific to 7 p.m. Pacific on a station called KCORradio.com, The Core. And I've been on since October of 2015, and I'm about as far from a radio talk show host as there is. I still don't have a clue what I'm doing. I mentioned to my wife one night that I was really depressed, that I couldn't quit my job, and just not that I don't like my job. I love working with animals. I'm a vet tech. But I was depressed that I couldn't just quit my job and travel all around the country going to all these paranormal conferences and paranormal conventions and just meet all these people that I really admire and maybe go on some investigations with them, pick their brain, what have you. And sure enough, she just, without batting an eye, said, why don't you have a radio show? And so I reached out to a friend of mine. Her name's Tina Marie Cowett. She's the program director and one of the owners of KCOR, and asked her what she thought. And she didn't give me an answer. She said, why don't we meet for a cup of coffee at this casino called South Point on the far south end of the Las Vegas Boulevard. So we met there early one Sunday afternoon after church for a cup of coffee, and she already showed up with a contract in her hand. So they saw something in me I didn't see in me. But it's amazing that, I'm... I don't know why I'm still on the air. I have a passion for it, I guess. I like doing the show. I love the people that I've met, that I've brought on the show and introduced to my listeners, and I have a good time doing it. Even though I get a little nervous every Monday night before the show starts, it's just, like it reminds me back when I was in high school in drama class before you go on and do a play or something, that kind of little bit of nervousness, but I like that. I've always performed at my best, whether it was sports or, anything like that, a demonic case or whatever have you. That little, nervousness going in keeps the edge on, and that probably helps me more than hurts me when I do the show. But it's called Vegas Supernatural, and I'll do it until the station doesn't want me to do it any longer, I guess.
Well, that is great. So, they can listen to you worldwide also. Absolutely.
I think it's broadcast live in 165 countries now. I could be wrong on that total. It's 160 or 165, somewhere in that neighborhood, countries. And I try to get all the times down so when I promote a show, I can say, okay, it's Monday night at 5, but for you listening in Australia, it's going to be Tuesday morning at 11 a.m., or in Britain at 1 a.m. in the morning, Tuesday, or what have you, because I've had guests on from those countries, which blows me away. I guess that's what blows me away about having an online radio show is where it reaches to, and the people that you meet, and the guests that you can pull on from these other countries. It just blows me away how that all works.
Well, there'll be times I'm in the studio in the morning and I have the computer on, and one of the computers, because I run 3 Skypes, because the new Skype doesn't allow us to do what the old Skype did, where you could add a whole bunch of people. So, into the conversation. So I have to run 3 different Skypes, to take calls and, and do what I do. And, it never fails. I'm sitting here, in the morning booking guests. Now, sometimes I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes it's 10 o'clock in the morning. And I'm in my studio. I'm sitting here, booking people and figuring out who I want on my show and who I don't want. And all of a sudden, I get a phone call, and it's from Australia, or it's out of the UK. And it's in a 4 or 5 hour period, I might get 5 or 6 people calling in, to ask questions, but they're all around the world, and they don't realize, my show isn't on to Pacific West Coast time, not to 7 p.m. And here it is, 10 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, because they sit there and they hit the replay off of one of the apps, and, they think I'm live right then. So, it can get confusing for people, but you know what? I enjoy it. And, and I think your show is going to go a long ways because, I think this talking to you, you have what it takes, the drive.
I hope so. I appreciate that, brother. I know you mean that too. I hope so. I would hate to think that everybody that tunes in for 2 hours gets off at the end going, that was 2 hours of my life I'm never getting back. If I thought that, I'd tell you, I would stop tomorrow, or I would stop as soon as you and I get done. So I hope so. Like I said, honestly, I don't have a clue what I'm doing. I get on there and I just, I say a little prayer before the show starts. I look at myself in the mirror and just say, be you, because I don't know how to be anybody else but me. And so maybe that's what works. But you know what I want to do? I really meant it when I told you how excited I was to be on your show and meet you. I want to give a shout-out to the person responsible for this tonight, and that's my publisher, Annette Munich at Stellium Books. Wonderful woman. She's the one that, made this arrangement to be on your show tonight. So not only do I want to thank you, I wanted to give her a shout-out because she's worked hard to get me some interviews, and she did such a wonderful job on my book, getting it out there, and how the final product came out. I've been so touched since I saw the final product that she definitely went above and beyond the call of duty in putting out something that far exceeded my expectations. And she's just a wonderful woman, so I wanted to thank her too.
Great. Now, I got to ask you a question. What was the scariest case you ever worked on that actually even scared you and made you challenge your religion? Have you had a case like that?
Oh, gosh, a couple of them, brother, I'll tell you. And if I wasn't thoroughly convinced that I was created to do this, I probably wouldn't be still doing it. But the one that got my wife and I on, she was already a Stephen minister, certified Stephen minister through the Lutheran faith when we met. But we were just, like I said, ghost hunters, ghostbusters, working paranormal cases. We hadn't really hit the mother lode yet. We had a feeling it would probably happen one day, but we didn't know when or where. But we worked a case where I didn't know what I was doing, and I used a Ouija board.
Oh, you don't want to do that.
Yeah. I was really, really ignorant when it came to the things you should and shouldn't use, and even how to use them if you are going to use it. And so we apparently left a door open, and whatever was at this home followed my wife and I home. And it took up residence in our house for about 8 weeks. And during that time, our life was a living hell. And I know that sounds cliche, but it literally was a living hell. And that's when I put my feelers out into the paranormal community and asked for help, and was introduced to my then mentor, who took me under her wing and taught me how to fight this thing. She was an ordained exorcist, the first female to be ordained a deacon in the Catholic Church, and she had performed hundreds of exorcisms, and she taught me how to get this thing out. She, too, saw something in me that I didn't see in myself and said, there's something about you. You're supposed to be doing this, and I want you to consider staying on my course and staying under my wing and continue to be trained and become ordained. So I did. Probably at that time, I probably did it just out of respect for her, but thinking, wow, this is kind of crazy. I'll go with it until I can't go with it any longer. But that first attack that my wife and I went through, shortly after we got this thing to move on. Now, my wife, I know she's 16 years older than me, but she's, even at that time, was the healthiest person that I knew. Doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, no history of cancer in her family. And this attack left her with 3 very rare forms of cancer. A very rare form of tongue cancer, a very rare form of medullary thyroid cancer, and then throat cancer. And she was expected to not survive that. And a lot of people say, well, people get cancer. How do you know it was from a demonic attack? Well, I suspected because it came on like gangbusters right after our attack. But 2, it seemed so insidious in nature, the form of the cancer. She had a feeding tube in for well over a year, couldn't speak or even swallow water for months. Went through like